The lights began to dim as the tables and chairs slid toward the walls. I had my journal open. I couldn't see anything in it. I sat back in my chair, feeling completely out of place as the music got louder and louder. 2 by 2, couples started to come up and dance on the floor. The music was getting louder. The women were doing spins and moving their hips like I'd never seen before. Not to the music, but rather it seemed like the music was following them. The men had smiles frozen from ear to ear as they did amazing dance patterns and combinations. I picked up my pen that was hidden next to my journal, and I wrote down one sentence in the complete dark. As I sit here and write about life, these people are living. Fellow Toastmasters and distinguished guests, that night in Barcelona, Spain, my life changed forever. Upon returning from Spain to San Francisco, where I lived throughout the 90s, I signed up for my first salsa dance lesson at the Metronome Ballroom. The instructor was an elegant redhead named Allison, amazing dancer. She immediately took a liking to me, probably out of pity, because I couldn't string together 3 steps without either falling off beat or even worse, falling off balance. After class, I decided just to sit back and watch Allison dance. Her spins and her feminine styling was out of this world. When she finished her dance, she came over to where I was sitting. We started having a chat, and I started to tell her what I did for a living. I told her I'm a fitness trainer and nutritionist at a club downtown. And I could see her eyes started to light up. And before I was finished, she told me she'd always wanted to work with a trainer and would I be interested in maybe doing a barter, personal training for salsa dancing. So without sounding overly enthusiastic, jumping out of my chair, I calmly said, sure, let's give it a shot. So the next 6 months, Allison and I traded dance for salsa. We did it twice a week, 1 hour each time. But I didn't stop there. I started going out dancing 4 to 5 nights a week. I mean, everywhere. I was dancing in my apartment. I was dancing in the gym, in the grocery store. I mean, anywhere I could dance, I was doing it. People probably thought I was nuts. Learning to salsa dance was one of the greatest gifts I ever gave myself. Not only did I learn how to do this, it actually extended my career, because being in fitness, I already was teaching people how to work out, how to play tennis, kickbox, but salsa dance was another thing I could add to my list of things to do. So in 2002, I decided to move to Los Angeles, packed up. I figured it was a good time, good place, the weather, fitness-minded people. So I came out here. Learning to salsa dance also was a great icebreaker when it came to meeting people. And sure enough, that is how I met my wife. Her name is Angel, and I invited her to my 6-week salsa class that I was just starting. She was excited, she said yes. 2 days before the class started, I got an email from her saying that she booked a movie, a small independent film, and that she wasn't going to be able to make it. So I was a little disappointed, but not entirely, because of all the other girls I had invited to the class. Everybody I met wanted to learn how to salsa dance. It was a magical formula. I couldn't find enough guys to fill up the class and partner up with all the girls, so how dumb can guys be, right? The 4 weeks that Angel was out of town, we emailed back and forth, and we're hitting it off on email. When she came back from her trip, we had our first date. I took her salsa dancing. Just kidding. We went to a comedy club, and then we went to a dinner. From there, our relationship started to progress, and a year later, we decided to take it to the next level. Instead of having a normal wedding, traditional wedding, we decided to elope and run away to Peru. So we got married on the top of Machu Picchu. On the way, before we left for this trip, we invited all of our friends and family, and we only had one guy commit to coming on the trip. A friend of ours named Peter. Not Buns, different guy. On the train from Cusco to Machu Picchu, we met a girl from New York for the first time, and we asked her if she wanted to be our maid of honor. She agreed, and our wedding party was formed. So at 5 a.m., December 31st, 2004, we began our journey to the top of Huayna Picchu, which is the highest peak in Machu Picchu. It was muddy out, so I carried all my clothes in a garment bag along with Angel's dress. After we summited the mountain, we changed, got ready for the ceremony. The officiant of the ceremony was a Peruvian shaman who didn't speak a lick of English. So he conducted the entire ceremony in Spanish, which we understood not one word of it. But one thing I've learned from salsa dancing is words matter very little. The message and meaning comes from a feeling and an energy. And in that sense, we understood everything we needed to know. After the ceremony was finished, Angel and I exchanged a personal letter to each other. And when we finished our letter, off in the distance we heard some clapping. And it caught us both off guard. We looked up, and at the ridge of the mountain, we saw about 50 hikers had gathered around and were giving their approval. Totally blew us away. A moment I'll never forget. That night, we conceived our first child in Peru, a little boy named Gannon Reed. And 2 years later, we had our second baby boy, a little boy named Phoenix Reed. And 6 months ago, we had our third child, which is our last. I promise. A little baby girl named Lake Angelina Reed. Mr. Toastmaster.